Well, hey, group leaders, as you now know, it is a new season, a new world a little bit in what it looks like to lead a group effectively, and wanted to provide a couple of tips and training moments for how you migrate your group from meeting together locally, whether that's in a living room like this one here at our house, or a coffee shop, or a restaurant, or a workplace, to migrating that to online. How do you stay connected, and what are the best ways for you guys to stay connected communication-wise, but also in growing in your faith? And so as you know, right now, this is a unique opportunity. It's a unique time in our world for groups and churches to come together and continue to provide care and support, but also to grow in their faith. Now, I know we've said this, but I want to just clarify again. Church isn't just content. But I do know that for many of our groups, what are we studying and how do we walk together through that is a big deal. The truth is, information has always been easily transmitted through digital means, whether that's a video or a podcast or a live stream or a book or an email, but participation is the goal. The reality is the church early on did the same thing. They met in homes, but they would receive letters like content and then still assume that Christians would pursue, how do we put this into our day-to-day through working together in community? That's what church is. And so the goal is not any different. We're going to provide you a couple ways for you to consistently use Right Now Media or Facebook or other tools to stay together in what you're studying through content. But the goal is going to be connection, care, and community. And there's some subtle shifts and tips that you can apply to translate your group from meeting locally to meeting online. Here's a few ways that's different. The first is, what are we watching or working through together? Many of you read books, you do things where you're studying God's Word together through a printed text. Simply put, all you'll need to do is share that. Share that in an email chain. Share those passages. Use Bible.com. Use your YouVersion apps. Share that in a community way and be prepared when you gather together online to discuss what you've already read. The same is true for video. Why an online group can work great and actually maybe simplify your time together is a lot of the other things like snacks and watching the video together can be done in advance or on your own. And so you do need to make some decisions upon how you watch your video material. Choose and clarify with your group if you're going to watch your content on demand in your own time individually in advance, or if you're going to gather online and try to screen share or watch it real time together as a group. Now, there are pros and cons to both. We're not going to tell you what to do. But I will say, as a group, make that decision and make that clear. Also, know that meeting online is going to present you with two challenges. One, people are opinionated about technology, and that's okay. If you're a Mac user and you say use FaceTime, but you have diehard Microsoft people who don't want to do that, let them choose the means that work best for them. Also, people might struggle, and so you'll need to teach them and be very clear. Actually, attached to this message, you will see notes for a templated email that you can create and send out in advance for how to log in, what platforms you're using, when you're meeting, and all of those details. Just be clear about what's expected and plan in advance for some big feelings, some opportunities for some tech issues, but to lead with grace in those. The two biggest decisions you need to decide are, one, what is our home base for communication? Where do we communicate all these details? Many of you use Facebook groups. Some use a text thread or a texting app like GroupMe or WhatsApp. That's great. If it's email, if it's phone calls, just be clear and decide how you're communicating when you're meeting and what platforms you're using. And choose a meeting space for connecting. A lot of groups are using Zoom. Zoom is phenomenal, and there's a lot of wins for using Zoom. It's what I'm on right now, and I use it each and every week to have phenomenal interperson conversation and coaching with other people across the country. You can use Skype, you can use FaceTime, you can use Google Hangout, but again, as long as you're clear, that's where the win will lie. Couple other few tips. First of all, if you've never done this before, it might feel weird at first. But I want to just let you know some simple ways in the notes below that you can see for how to have a great video call. One, your lighting is important. Make sure you're able to be seen. Make sure it's not too dark. Make sure that it's actually aware of what's going on around you, but not distracting in the background. Pick a quiet place in your house. Don't choose a coffee shop. Don't choose a public place, which right now is easy to avoid. But maybe choose a time when your kids are down or your pets are outside. Choose a quiet time so that you can hear your group members respond. Make sure your camera's level. Don't wobble, move it around, or hold your handheld because that can be distracting and honestly could make some people sick. And also, make sure you log in early and encourage your group to both download the software or the place that you're meeting early and check their microphones and cameras in preferences and settings so that they are able to be seen and heard. Probably the last pro tip is this: practice using mute and unmute. When your speaker is what you're speaking through, people are going to get canceled out if they talk over each other. And so basic principles in a normal group of crosstalk and listening to one another really become simplified and strategic. So use your mute and unmute button and teach your people to do the same so that they can listen well. Good news is it also gives some extra opportunities for them to consider their answers, to raise their hand, and to kind of interact in a very personable way that lets you know they're ready to speak. The last thing is this: being an online small group isn't that dissimilar than being in your home. You're going to want to keep a schedule. When you are hosting your group online, be the first one there. Be ready to welcome everyone as they log on, check their tech, remind them about the mute and unmute, remind them about lighting, and tell them that this is a new adventure we're all going to figure out together. Secondly, make sure everybody speaks. This is normal in a group, but it's easier to hide on a couch than it is on a camera. And so start with some discussion questions. Ask them what they're doing. If they're at home, ask them what this season has been like for them, but make sure everybody answers to warm them up. If you're going to watch the study, then jump into watching it together. And if not, jump right into discussion. And make sure you still pray. Take prayer requests and end with prayer together. And be sure to point them back to your communication landing page, your home base, for any of those other news and notes, and set the next time to meet again. Like I said, it's a new adventure, but I really do believe, even if and when things go back to normal and you're meeting locally, this could be a means that when summers are busy, when people are out of town, you can stay connected and you guys can continue to grow as a group online, even when you cannot be together in person. We love you guys. If you need tips, support, help, tech questions, or content questions, feel free to let us know. You can email us at the contacts below, but we love you guys. We are praying for you, and you are not alone in this. May God bless you for all you're doing and all He's going to do in you.